The Other Side Media Group and 91X now present The Other Side Radio Show, a program about people who make a difference from all walks of life in Quinte and beyond. And now here are your hosts, Jeremy and Joshua Davis.
Hello and welcome again to The Other Side Special Report. I'm Jeremy Davis, and on today's show we have Belleville Mayor Mitch Panchak, who will address our community, our region, and the world around us in the wake of the COVID-19 world crisis. We also have an address by Belleville and District Chamber of Commerce CEO Jill Raycroft to the business community on what they're doing to help with the local economic crisis in this situation. We will have Canadian author J.R. Davis, who will delight our audience with another one of his magnificent pieces, and some special music from Victoria Hamilton. So you want to stay right here and stay tuned. We'll be right back on the Other Side Radio Show.
Hi, I'm Mitch Panchak, Mayor of the City of Belleville, and it's my pleasure to provide an update on the COVID-19 situation here in the City of Belleville and some of the steps that we've been taking. This has been an interruption for all of us and all of our lives, and I know it's been difficult for many residents. Ever since the provincial government issued their declaration of emergency and the 10 individual orders restricting some of our behaviors, it has really impacted our society, and we have seen great sacrifice on the part of residents and businesses. But the good news is working, and I'll get to that in a moment. But I first want to start off by saying that from the very beginning, the City of Belleville recognized that we needed to provide some relief to our residents and our businesses, and we closed all of our public buildings. We terminated all of our programs at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center. We closed our playgrounds and our parks and open spaces, with the exception of walking trails and pathways. We've been enforcing the restrictions on groups of more than 5 people who are not cohabitating, as well as people who are not social distancing. And the good news is that, residents have responded very, very well, that the vast majority of people are respecting the requirements that are in place. And as a result, as of yesterday, we have been doing very, very well. Our sacrifices are working. As of April the 15th, we had a total of 27 lab-confirmed cases, of which 11 are resolved. So we've only got 16 active cases here in Belleville. There are about 261 probable cases since the very beginning, and of those, 145 have been resolved as well. And testing is going full speed ahead here in Belleville. There are about 35 people a day that are actually getting swabbed for that testing. And in our Prince Edward Hastings Health Board, we've had 802 tests to this point. Again, only 27 lab-confirmed cases. So that's been very, very good. It doesn't mean that we can let up. We've got to continue to focus on this and be vigilant. And I know that working together, we all will. When this occurred, we felt that the most important thing that Belleville could do was to ensure that our essential services that the residents rely on would continue no matter what. And so we took all the steps, Belleville City Council took all the steps to ensure that we can continue our services, things like water and sanitary and transit and police and fire and ambulance, and all the support that we provide. So, for example, making sure that our streets are safe and traffic lights are working, and some of the permits that people require from City Hall, all that would continue. We've, as I said, closed the City Hall, but people are working from home, and we're modifying the number of people that are at City Hall at one time to prevent the chance of spreading COVID-19, but it's been going very, very well. In addition, we know that a lot of people have had disruptions. They've lost their jobs, either because they've been laid off or their companies suspended, or they're working from home and not making the same amount of income. So we recognized that we wanted to do some financial assistance, and we've extended payment for property taxes, which are normally due at the end of April. We've extended that until the end of June. So we've given people 2 full additional months to pay interest-free to pay at that point. And then we've also extended the next 2 series of payments this fall and later this summer by an additional month each. So basically, we've given people a full 4 months of extra time this year to pay their property taxes as they deal with this. In addition, Belleville Water Services, we are not charging interest if people are unable to pay them on time, and we're working to assist. If people happen to have an old parking ticket, because we've relaxed our parking restrictions in terms of enforcement, but if they have an old parking ticket and they haven't gotten to City Hall to pay it, we're not charging interest or administration fees on any of those late fees. We recognize that we don't want people who might be concerned about having the virus to be going out to buying garbage bag tags. So for the foreseeable future, we are not requiring tags on people's garbage bags. And we extended the parking passes that people had if they're working from March right to the end of April, and also bus passes if people are using transit go to the end of April as well. So we've done a lot of those things to try to help people. We've worked with our partners at Hastings County to ensure that vulnerable people who require assistance from those programs, that they're not forgotten. Hastings County is continuing to provide the services they need, including emergency housing for the city of Belleville. But in addition to that, at the meal program sites where they hand out meals, so at Bridge Street United, at the Salvation Army, at the Gleaners Food Bank, and the Grace and Shelter, the city also provided porta potties, because with those facilities being closed for people from the public going in, the washing facilities were indoors as well. So we ensured that that would be on site, and the city's paying for that and maintaining that. We're continuing the business of the city, as I said, and we are ensuring that the capital projects, so Bell Boulevard widening and the Saganasca Bridge and other projects, are continuing, and those are going full speed ahead. We've changed our transit system to have people enter the bus from the middle rather than the front where the driver is, to protect the driver. And we've also ensured that if rather than having to use cash on buses, if people don't have a bus pass, we're not collecting fares from them. So we're continuing to do all those items. As I said, we've closed all of our playgrounds, our parks, our boat launches, Myers Pier, Victoria Harbour. These are all part of the orders that were issued by the province of Ontario in terms of requiring us to have them closed. We continue to work really well with our regional partners, with the health board. I'm involved with telephone conference calls 3 times a week, and the emergency control group for the city of Belleville has met a number of times as well. I know this is a discouraging time for some because people don't want to do this, but as I said, the statistics are showing that it's working and we're on the right track, and we have to continue to be vigilant. But I do recognize that for some people, this is a time of isolation, and it is depressing to a certain extent. So we want to make sure that people are taking care of themselves. That's why they're able to go outdoors. I encourage them to walk, get some fresh air, and take advantage of this time. For those of you who are working in our long-term care or our essential services in the private sector, thank you so very much for working for us and continue to provide the services you do. And I also want to thank the volunteers, the people who have stepped up to make masks and other safety face shields or whatnot, and they've donated those to people in the front lines. It's been wonderful. The last 4 weeks has been a very different time. None of us like this. We're not enjoying this by any means, and we're doing great sacrifice. But I'm seeing kindness in people and how they are really working to ensure that things are better, and they're checking in on people who are alone. And I think that's the bright spot of all of this, that while we are coming together by staying apart, we're not forgetting about each other, and we're being great. As I said, Belleville City Council is still on the job. If people have any questions, they can contact us. There's information on the city web page. We have not just a COVID-19 web page devoted to all the steps the City of Belleville's taken, but there's also contact information for me as mayor and all members of City Council. And if people want to talk to us, have questions, or even just have someone to chat with, we're here for them. So I want to wish everybody a very good rest of the week. Thanks for doing such a great job, Belleville, and we look forward to getting through this period.
Hello, my name is Jill Raycroft from the Belleville Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank the Other Side Media Group and my dear friends Jeremy and Joshua Davis for inviting me to share a bit of our story and how we're trying to help the business community through these unprecedented and trying times. Just a couple months ago, our greatest concern was the pending high water levels in Lake Ontario. Today, we navigate through changing daily directives without knowing when we will return to some sort of normal and what that new normal looks like. There is little consolation in this moment, and we are all affected by this in some way. We are also, in many ways, fortunate. We have power, we have clean water, we have access to our homes, we have groceries and health care, with a huge thank you to all of these essential workers who depend on us to follow the rules to keep them safe. We may be isolated, but we have communication, and we are all waiting together. Our governments continue to caution us while they encourage us to stay calm. They are trying very hard to make sure the most vulnerable are taken care of first, while still considering implications to the economy. There are some significant programs already in place to help businesses and their employees, but we know that doesn't help everyone. More regularly, we are your local connection to the provincial and federal chambers. We share your voice because we are here, living it with you. We follow your social media, we use your services, we buy your products, we eat with you. We are your customers, and we know personally and firsthand how the situation is affecting you. We see it, we feel it. Here through the Chamber Network, we are working at every level to make sure our small business owners who are left out right now are not forgotten. Many thanks to MP Neil Ellis, who called last week to make sure I knew what was being made available through the loan program, and that businesses should contact their bank for more information. The application process is simple. I did share with him that the program is still exclusive and asked him to continue to press for less restrictive conditions around payroll requirements for eligibility. And we got the news today that that has changed. Following a week or two of major announcements, the past couple have been more about waiting to see if these programs will shift to include more, and whether or not they will work for everyone, and whether or not we start to see positive results from the self-isolation measures we are undertaking. If you're a small business or have been unemployed, you're wondering if your application will go through. We watch every day to see if we're flattening the curve. Will the numbers go down? And will this really go on so long that I need to apply for a loan, a wage subsidy, or the CERB as a self-employed person? And I certainly had to ask if we were doing enough to ensure the voice of local business is being heard. We also know the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses works for business at the same level as the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, and we have members who participate with both. In times like these and on many federal initiatives, the Canadian Chamber and the CFIB are aligned and share your voice at the federal level. When the Canadian Chamber needs your direct input, we share survey links, as we did last week, for their partnership with Stats Canada, for details on how you expected your business to survive this crisis. And this is also what we share through our membership with the Ontario and Canadian Chamber, to ensure your voice is heard provincially and federally. And when we're not sure, we ask you to tell us. The issues during this crisis have seemed obvious, but is there more to the story we should share? So this week we've set up a quick little pulse check survey that's available on our website at bellevillechamber.ca. Please let me know if there's something we aren't seeing or don't know. while we live with you. We do know that the current relief programs are not sufficient, and many of our smaller business members are getting left behind with the conditions of eligibility. So we have rallied that the 10% wage subsidy was insufficient and it moved to 75%. We have heard the CRA say they want the message out there that they are here to help you access funds through the loan program. So if your payroll is higher, it is still worth applying, and now they've extended that from $1 million to $1.5. If loan money is used appropriately, that alone will not trigger an audit. And if your payroll didn't meet the initial threshold requirements, they were now changed from $50,000 down to $20,000, and as I mentioned before, up to $1.5 million. We know that will help, but now we ask again, is that enough for the smallest of our business owners who work their store full time and never pay themselves? What we have seen over the past few weeks is that these programs continue to evolve and change. And we continue to voice concerns felt by you when these programs fall short of supporting your needs. For example, are you allowed to make a sale and still collect the CERB? That's a great question, and while we still can't get a solid answer, the government has recognized that people who are working with reduced income still need access to the CERB support, and that's increased now to allow you to earn up to $1,000 a month. If your business has overhead costs and you pay yourself through your business and don't pay yourself through this time, effectively you don't receive a salary. These are points of clarification we're working on for business. If you're a non-essential business, are you allowed to provide curbside or delivery service? Fortunately, the city has agreed that as long as the business is not open to customers and all transactions take place online, this will not be treated as an infraction or subject to fines. So we're looking forward to announcements from the downtown district of when our favorite small stores will reopen in an online format. I have understood from the resources made available through a variety of sources, but please consult your professional advisor, your bank, your accountant, your payroll service provider are on top of this information. But if you're wondering what program might work for you, this may help distinguish between some of the options. And again, keep in mind that we continue to lobby to make sure that these programs become more expansive. So the wage subsidy program is an opportunity that will cover 75% of the wages and 25% by the employer. The initial condition was a 30% decrease in revenue by month from March, April to May from last year. This has expanded now to consider revenue versus January, February to March, April, May, and they've decreased the requirement to 15% for March. In spirit, the purpose of this program is to support businesses that can have their employees working safely without the revenue to support it during this time. So I've seen this applied in certain circumstances, but yours may differ. For example, employees could work remotely, and we are doing this at the Chamber. Perhaps the employees are not at risk in the work environment and there's work to be done, and it could even involve undertaking a reorganization or a cleanup. Or it might be that employers are concerned that their employees will seek or find other employment and the cost of recruiting and retraining is high. The other opportunity may be with goodwill, where the employees will stay at home and not do any work, but you want to make sure that they're supported. Employers are very strongly encouraged to pay their employees the remaining 25%. And if you use a payroll company or accountant or bookkeeper to process your payroll, they will be able to assist you with the application process once this goes live. There is a 10% wage subsidy that can be accessed automatically and no application required, and this can also come through with your payroll administrator or accountant. We encourage you to look into that. There's also the interest-free loan, which is a huge opportunity, and this is one of the significant announcements made today. It's a $40,000 loan with up to 25% forgivable if paid in full by December of 2022. So the conditions were around payroll, and that has been expanded to if you've paid $20,000 to $1.5 million in payroll, you are eligible to apply for this loan. It's interest-free, up to $40,000, and you can forgive 25% of that. So if you apply for $40,000 and you can pay it back, you only have to pay $30,000 back if you do that by December of 2022. If you're not sure if you're going to need that money, you should still apply. You can put the money in the bank, and then if you end up paying it back in time, you still have $10,000. But I compare it to pain medication. If you wait until it gets really bad and then need a high dose, you may not be able to recover sufficiently. Now you start and you begin with a low dose, and hopefully you may or may not. But I would encourage you not to attempt bankrolling this on your own, because we don't know how long it will last. Take advantage of the interest-free portion, particularly if you expect business to return to normal and your services will still be required following the crisis. Finally, for most of those who are self-employed, absolutely consider doing the self-employed benefit through the CERB. This is no income for 14 days, but now they've increased that to you're eligible if you've earned less than $1,000 in a month. It's retroactive to March 15th, and it is for anybody who would not be normally eligible for EI, so definitely something to consider. And to the point of how long this could happen, it's also the reality of how long this could continue is also settling in. The province has shut down any major event through the end of June. Our city has closed its park and public facilities. We at the Chamber have had to cancel our Spring Art Fest event the end of May. Festivals across the country are being cancelled through August now. Canada Day is not going to be celebrated on Parliament Hill. These are things that make us sad. They make us fearful. The new normal is a lot farther away than the next review. First, we thought April 6th would be our freedom date. Then 2 more weeks, and now we're looking at May 12th. What will come next? We continue to push out information as we get it, but if you use social media, please feel free to follow us at Facebook, Belleville Chamber of Commerce. And also go to our website at belvillechamber.ca, and you'll see a special link to COVID-19, which offers all the resources that we have available, including what's open. We hope you stay safe, stay well through these trying times, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you.
This is Joshua Davis, wanting to thank all our very special guests, Mayor Mitch Panchak of the City of Belleville. Thank you, Mitch, for that informative address to our community and beyond with this crisis. And also Jill Raycroft of the Belleville and District Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much. And now, I'd like to end off with a little motivational minute for all you people out there to give you a little more hope and a little more comfort in this trying time. Hearts of Redemption by Joshua Davis. Hearts sit on a wired fence, leaning forward to the electric dance. Doves cry in the night, holding our love's palpitations together tonight. Redemption crosses over like God's beautiful four-leaf clover. And there you'll find inner peace inside the plantation of every human. Tears of joy trickle down the fence. Through the sunshine, remember, you'll always find God's loving repentance, hearts of redemption. Thank you very much. God bless you. Love to you all.
I'm Jeremy Davis, along with Joshua Davis, and we will see you next week. And to end off the show, here is a special song, Hallelujah, by Canadian vocalist Victoria Hamilton. Take care.
This is Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 Well, maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who'd outdrew you. It's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not someone who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
The Other Side Radio Show is a production of the Other Side Media Group in association with 91X. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved. Connect on Facebook at the Other Side Media Group, Instagram at Jeremy Tyler Davis, or on YouTube at Jeremy T. Davis, Belleville, Ontario for on-demand episodes and more. Tune in next time for another great episode of the Other Side Radio Show.